Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. This is Rusty 78609. I'm in Central Texas, USA, near Kingsland, Texas, near Granite Shoals off of Highway 1431, near the lake LBJ. And this gentleman here, Kenneth, is going to explain what this is all about. Tell me what is the name of this organization and what do they do?
Land Uplift Organization, Archaeology Society, putting it on.
Okay.
We have people from Texas Parks and Wildlife, Travis County Archaeological Society, Central Texas Archaeological Society. We have, besides the Gulf, we have Southwest Texas down here. We got Texas Parks and Wildlife.
Okay.
If you go around the corner, you'll find some more.
All right. Well, you kind of lead the way and I'll follow. Apparently there's a metal detector there, so somebody's searching for something. Hi, how are you today? You're with Texas Parks and Wildlife.
I'm with Texas Parks and Wildlife.
All right,
yes.
what is your purpose in being here today?
We are with the Cultural Resources.
Say that again?
The Cultural Resources Division
Okay.
at Parks and Wildlife.
Right.
And we have our display showing what's for dinner, tool time, how Native peoples use the resources.
Now, these are people from this area?
From this area,
Okay.
these artifacts are from Inks Lake, which is just down the road.
Okay.
These are not. These are.
Are these artifacts, when they were found here in this area?
These were found here in this area.
Could you
Yes.
tell me what they are?
These are what we call cores, or raw material, where Native peoples would knock off pieces to then in turn make tools, which this is just
Okay, so
the
this.
process breaking down from here to a preform or biface and then dark points.
All right, how long have you been doing this?
20 years? I've been with Parks and Wildlife for 14 years.
Okay, is this how you prepare your food?
This is not how I prepare my food. No. And in fact, if this was the way that we would have to prepare food, we might all starve.
Yeah, we would be a lot thinner,
Yes,
right?
it's true.
Obesity
Yes.
would not be a problem,
And
right?
yes, no processed foods.
Well, anyway, thank you for your moment.
Yeah, thank you.
And anyway, I do a vlog on YouTube,
Okay.
and I used to be with the press, and so I try to promote these local events.
Yes, very
Because,
good.
see, this one doesn't get a lot of publicity.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad that Jim invited us out, and we're happy to be here.
What is the name of this building or this organization?
The Nightingale Archaeological Center.
Say that again.
Nightingale Archaeological Center.
Nightingale Archaeological Center.
Yes,
Okay.
and the Yano Upland Archaeological Society
Okay.
puts this on.
Yeah, it's hard for me to remember
It's
those
hard
names.
to remember all of it.
Yeah, it is. And these are just some more old stuff.
These are here from the center, so I'm not quite sure Ken might know more about this.
Okay.
But Leslie over here is an expert in plants.
All right, we'll get on the plants in a minute here. Well, I recognize some of it. I mean, that's obviously an old horseshoe. I can deal with that.
Make the best.
Go ahead.
This is an offshoot. It's the Texas Archaeological Research Center Laboratory over at the Pickle Center.
Okay.
And they store basically bunches and bunches of historic and prehistoric items.
Right.
And most all of it is donated or from field schools or their archaeologists.
Well, now, let me walk over here and get a look at this. These that look like, well, they're mostly arrowheads, right?
Arrowheads, grindstones, antlers, mussel shells. And you're
How are you guys?
take over.
Oh, you're
no,
the
you go
expert.
right
Well,
ahead.
no, what is your name?
I am Annie Riegert. I am
Annie? Thank you, Kim.
curatorial associate at TARL.
You're with what now?
TARL, I'm the curatorial associate there
Can
at
you?
the Texas Archaeological Research Laboratory.
Yeah, thank you
You are very
much.
welcome.
You have sold me now. All right, well, tell me what I'm looking at here.
So you're looking at quite a few things. We have a diorama of what an excavation would look like.
Okay.
And this is really to show you the methods, right? We don't just dig a big circle. We have a very structured excavation going on, and you can see the different layers. So the farther down you go, the further back in history you're going.
Have you ever been on an excavation?
Oh, yes.
Oh, really?
Absolutely.
Are there any excavations going on in this area now?
I believe so, but that's definitely a question for Jim, who
No,
knows
that's
this
all
area
right.
better.
What excavation did you go on?
Most of my experience is actually outside the U.S. I have worked in South Texas a little bit, but those were on modern excavations because I'm a biological anthropologist.
You're a what now?
Biological anthropologist.
A biological anthropologist.
Yes. So I study
You're the
human
first one I've ever met.
Oh, well, it's very nice to meet
Well, actually,
you.
I volunteered on at national parks like Hoven Weep and Gila Cliff Dwellings, and there were some girls there that were doing excavation, and yeah, they're serious.
It's a whole lot of fun.
Well, you know, they have their little things, and yeah, they too.
It's a little bit slower. It's a little bit different methods.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It's really something. Well, so all of these, apparently, most of these are arrowheads. Okay.
So a lot of these. So we have our dart points and our arrow points. So our dart points are the larger ones.
Okay.
And then our arrow points are the tinier ones.
Now
right?
this looks like some kind
That
of
is a
scraping.
biface.
Is that what you call a scraping tool?
No. So this is just a biface, and then our scrapers are right here.
Now, when you say a biface, you're going to have to expand on
So
it.
a biface is a lithic that has been worked on either side, right? So
Okay.
it's bifacially worked. You can see how there's been flaking on either side.
Okay.
But you have different types of biface. This one has
Yeah, isn't that
points.
interesting?
Oh, it's very interesting, right? And you have to think about it. A biface truly is anything worked on the other side. So, but this one is a little bit different.
Have you ever found those yourself?
I have, and I found some of them in burials, but what I found more so in burials is actually obsidian, which we have here. Because most of my work has been in Belize.
What people did that? Indian tribes?
It depends where they were, right? Definitely Native Americans. You have a lot of Maya that are using it. Everyone in Mesoamerica is using it because it's volcanic glass.
How many years ago?
Well, it depends on what you're talking about. Yeah.
I don't know how to ask the question.
No worries. Well, then here is the scraper that you're talking about.
Yeah. See, I found some of those when I was out on the reservation.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're beautiful. These are unifacially worked.
See, that's a technical term not many people know.
Well, so unifacially worked.
Unifacially.
Yes. So we were talking about the biface, but the uniface is going to be worked only on one side. Uniface versus biface, which is two sides, right?
Okay,
Bi versus
gotcha,
uni.
Gotcha. Okay.
And then we have some drills and awls,
All right.
which you can see here, right? So they're worked on either side, just like the biface, but then they kind of become narrowed in here.
Gotcha. So you're talking to a novice artist.
No, you are good. Please. I always need to elaborate better. So
No, you're
always
doing
do.
great. I mean, I'm the one that's sitting here with my mouth open because I can't come up with a question.
You are great.
I'm not even intelligent enough to come up with a question.
You are asking fantastic questions.
Well, it's pretty standard who, what, when, where,
Yeah,
and
you
how.
got it.
Yeah,
All
that'll
the right
work everywhere.
ones.
Okay. Anyway,
Here are some of my favorites. So we have an axe here.
that is an axe. Oh, that's
so this
a good
is what
axe.
brownstone is.
If you got hit in the head with that,
You wouldn't want to be,
No,
definitely.
that's not good.
And then you
That's
have the
not good.
smaller version, basically, which is an adze.
Okay.
And you can see here where it would have been hafted,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
What else do we have? So we
Yeah.
have some tools that would have been used for flint knapping to create
For what?
these. Flint knapping, so actually lithic tool making when you are.
So this is what you'd use to make.
This is some of what you would use sometimes.
That's just a deer horn, isn't it?
It is.
See how?
So-
I know something.
I believe that we have someone actually demonstrating flint
Well, yeah,
knapping down there
yeah.
that I highly recommend going to.
Let me go that way then. 'Cause I need to
Definitely.
do more
So
and
he
see
will
more.
definitely explain that to you.
Okay, and your name again is?
Annie Riegert.
Annie Riegert.
What was your name?
My name's Rusty.
Rusty,
My
very
YouTube
nice to
channel is
meet you.
Rusty78609. Yep.
Very nice to meet
Yeah,
you.
you're meeting a lot of people. Anyway, how are you doing?
Oh, I'm doing good.
Yeah. Okay, Kenneth. No, I'm not. I wouldn't dare.
We got the LCRA over here.
Okay.
This is Andy, one of their archaeologists.
Hello, Andy, archaeologist with LCRA. How long have you been doing that?
I'm doing fine, thanks.
You've been an archaeologist with LCRA a long time?
Pretty long time, since '96.
Well, what's going on at the archaeology department at LCRA?
Well, we're just kind of holding down the fort and taking care of projects as they come in, and then enjoying coming out and participating in this.
Are there any sites that are covered up by the lakes?
There are numerous sites.
Or
that are
numerous
covered by
sites.
lake. Mhm.
When you say sites like old burial sites or
No, not that we know of, really. More Indian campsites, and also a lot of, for example, on Lake Buchanan, there's a lot of, like the old town of
Yeah.
Tao, or Bluffton rather. becomes exposed.
Well, what are some of the things that people should be aware of when they're out and about on LCRA property? Any not do's or
As far as archaeological sites on LCRA lands or any public lands for that matter, they're protected by law. So the point is that if you see an artifact,
leave it there?
That's nice, but yeah, leave it there.
Okay. In other words, it's like being out in the West on the reservations. You can look at it, but don't disturb it. Yeah.
Right,
Okay.
right.
So your mission here is just to let people know about the archaeology program with LCRA?
Correct. So LCRA's mission, and then
Yeah, the reason I'm here is to let people know that this is a once a year deal?
So far, this is the second annual.
Second annual, all right.
And it's kind of strategically scheduled, I think, by the group because Texas is Archaeology Month is in October, and then there's all kinds of events, numerous events, and so they decided to move one to the spring. And
Very good.
Last year it was very successful.
All right. Well, I appreciate you taking time to visit with me. I wish you a lot of luck in your endeavors.
Thank you very much.
And I hope we don't ever have another flood like we had.
Or drought.
Or drought. Thank you. Okay, we're moving right along here, guys. This is the Galt School of Archaeological Research, and not many people know about that, including me. But Kenneth does.
One of the oldest digs in the United States, not just Texas, but everywhere. And it goes back 12, 14,000. They might have even went back farther than that.
This is a dig, but where is it located?
Up at, I forgot.
That's all right. I mean,
It's in Bell County.
Oh, it's in Texas?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's one of the oldest archaeological digs, and it's in Texas.
This guy right here, she will tell you
How
all
about
it.
Well, let's learn all about it, guys. Anyway, so y'all are representing the Galt School of Archaeological Research. It's hard for me to say that word, archaeological. You know what I mean? It doesn't want to come out right.
It doesn't really roll off the
No,
tongue,
it's not
does
one
it?
of those words that you say a lot. But anyway, so y'all are working with one of the oldest digs in Texas, is that correct?
It is one of the oldest sites in Texas. It has been dated to at least, and I emphasize least, 16,000 years ago.
Wow.
We have completed our first publication on these older artifacts. It came out in Science Advances last summer.
Right.
If you want to pull the camera closer
Sure.
to this way, they're just pictures, but these tiny little points are actual size. This little point is at the Bullock Museum right now, on display as basically one of the oldest points in Texas.
One of the questions that always comes up about archaeological digs is how can you determine the age of anything? In other words, what scientific proof is there that this would be close to 16,000 years old?
That's a good question, and I'm going to pass it over to our dating
Aha,
expert.
here's the
There
guy.
are. We'll start with the very, very basics, which is everything in nature is sort of being deposited or eroded, but as time goes by, you're laying up the soils. And so, first of all, like a layer cake, anything on the top is going to be youngest. As it gets down, you're going to be working slowly back in age. That's the basic idea, and we understand that works. But then we have to really nail down the exact ages of what we're looking at. And what we do there is we can use two methods, or there's two very common methods. The first is radiocarbon dating. And radiocarbon dating works with the any natural organic material that would absorb carbon, in this case carbon-14, which is a radioactive, and as it decays at a known rate. So if we find the remains, let's say some wood or some bone, and it has datable material in it, we can actually get a C14 date, and that tells us, because of radioactive decay, how old it is.
C14 means carbon-14.
Carbon-14,
Okay.
correct. Now,
You're talking to novices here, okay?
That's right. Now, the Galt site, we didn't have the preservation of bone or wood. To have good preservation at an archaeological site, you need one of two conditions: really, really, really dry, or really, really, really wet.
Okay.
And as everyone knows in Texas, it's never really, really dry or really, really wet. It changes. We'll get very heavy downpours, very heavy rains. So we had to turn to another method, and that method is optically stimulated luminescence, which is a very fancy scientific term.
Yeah, we're getting
But-
there now.
But we can break this down.
Want some information.
Basically,
You can date wrong.
down in the layers, you have tiny quartz grains. So quartz grains are being blown all over the Earth all the time. In fact, most people in Texas are familiar with this during the spring and summer when we get dust from the Sahara blowing over Texas. We get those lovely sunrises. Well, that quartz, when it's on the surface, when the sun's rays is hitting it, basically it's draining all of the energy from that quartz. Now, the energy comes from when a quartz grain is buried, it's absorbing radioactive energy. Okay, and the longer it's buried, the more energy it absorbs. So it's like a little battery. So this little battery on the surface is completely empty, has no energy, but as it gets buried, it starts absorbing a charge, just like plugging in your phone, and it's absorbing this radioactive charge.
Well, let me ask you this. Since I'm a novice, how was that theory developed? In other words, you're telling me that that's how it works.
That's right.
But how did you develop?
Geologists have been using it for decades.
Okay, so it's nothing new.
It's absolutely nothing new.
It's just something that
Okay, 'cause one of the
archaeologists have just recently started getting friendly
Well,
with.
because there's a religious argument about the Earth's age, and
Right.
we won't get into that. But their argument is always that these methods are not provable or valid or whatever, and you would have to say that they probably are.
Right. These aren't just sort of plucked out or found. These dating methods are based on our understanding of nature and the interaction of basic chemical elements, and then the science is built from that. If we understand how chemical elements work and how radiation works, then we can build up. So it's not just one isolated, it's a whole history of research.
You know your subject matter very well. How are you funded? Is that a question I can ask?
Yeah, we are actually funded entirely by private donations and by fundraising.
All right.
So everything we do is through that. Now, when we get to these major scientific excavations like at the gold site, we have applied and been successful in receiving grant funding to do that. But right now we're operating the Gold School of Archaeological Research is a non-profit that funds all of this.
Let's just say that you find things that are of extreme value. In other words, not necessarily metals, but things that are just old and have value because of that. They have intrinsic value because of the age. Do you sell those to museums, or do they buy those items?
Absolutely not. The first part of an archaeologist is an ethical duty to preserve and protect all archaeological finds.
All right. Okay.
And so we will curate them and we'll look after them for the duration of research, and then they'll be curated in major research facilities.
Well, you are extremely knowledgeable in your subject matter. And you know what's amazing? See, you're facing me and the sunlight's behind you. Anybody that's a videographer or does videos, that you should be looking into the light, because all they're going to see is a face that moves. So you're basically incognito.
Good.
Okay?
Nice. Excellent. I should have lowered my voice a bit as well.
But
your accent's going to give you away.
Yeah, exactly. It does give him away.
But basically, I don't know if it's optically stimulated luminescence dating is the type of science that's being used, and geologists have used it for decades and decades.
It's proved.
Archaeologists
well
have just
proven.
been willing to actually start trying it. We're one of the first scientists in scientific investigations that have used this successfully, and it's become more popular in the last 10 years. Actually, Dr. Collins is the one that started using luminescence dating 15, 20 years ago.
Well, are you both involved in working at the Galt site?
Yeah, we're both active reachers at the gold site.
Is that right? How many people are actually involved there?
We have a team of 8.
We just brought on another young man from another one from England. He just got his PhD.
Isn't that something?
Well, they
he's
seem to
not
be
from
more
South-
open-minded. And
He's not from South Texas, I
He's
guess.
I'm from Maine, Texas.
He's from North Texas.
Yeah, I hear
North
you.
Austin, that's what we
Yeah,
like to say.
Right. Well, anyway, guys, I'm going to let y'all finish up your day, and I probably have caused y'all to miss some.
Not at all.
no,
Not at all. We're happy to help.
We'll always talk.
I don't know if you can reach that
If
or
you've got
not.
questions, we'll always talk.
Tom and
Yeah.
I are both on that website if you want,
Yeah, but, I mean, I'm
names
curious.
and-
I'm always curious when I'm traveling
all
around.
that stuff.
I RV a lot and do a lot of stuff
And
like
if
that.
you have any more questions, just feel free to contact us.
Don't worry, I will. Appreciate your courtesy. You're very thorough. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Even though it's confusing,
It is. We're still learning.
you know, if you throw enough at somebody, they'll pick up a little bit.
Well, that's the hope. That's
Yeah.
the hope.
Anyway, how are you today?
I'm good. How are you today?
Are you with?
I'm with the Hill Country Archaeological
Okay,
Association.
so tell me about the Hill Country, or briefly about the Hill Country.
Briefly.
Well, the reason I say briefly, this video is about 20 minutes, and it takes forever to get them uploaded after that. But anyway, go ahead.
We're just a group of volunteers in Kerrville, and vocational and avocational
Right.
archaeologists, and we work private sites, private properties.
Do y'all have any sites that you're working now?
Yeah, we have about 3 current ones that we're working
And
on.
it's all volunteers, though, right?
Uh-huh.
All right, so there's no funding for you at all?
No.
So you have to furnish your own tools and
Yeah.
everything?
Yeah, we do.
Okay.
We have several of our volunteers. We have retired professors, retired professional geologists.
Yeah.
They're all professional in the field.
Yeah,
And then volunteers that we get out there and just dig for rocks.
Yeah, you know, the people. I was on the Hovenweep National Monument. I volunteered there, and then I was at Gila Cliff Dwelling.
Okay.
And a lot of people don't realize how intensive these digs are. In other words, there's really a lot going on there. And
Oh, a lot.
And you have to be really careful, and they go really slowly.
Yeah.
And these people are highly trained.
Highly trained,
Yeah,
yeah.
it looks like they're not doing much, but they're actually doing a lot.
And you learn just by digging in the dirt, finding chips of rock. You learn as you go along, and
Right.
you learn to start identifying and knowing what you're doing and knowing what you're looking for. So.
Well, let me say this, Bonnie. Thank you. I like your name, Bonnie. Bonnie.
It's not
It's not French, Bonnet.
Well, yeah, it's Bonnet. My father was
I know,
French.
but-
Oh, really?
It is Bonnet.
How interesting. Yeah. Well, anyway, she's with the Hill Country Archaeological Association, and that word archaeological is still not easy for me to say.
And you're welcome to come out every other month. We have speakers at the Nature Center in Kerrville.
Okay.
And it's open to the public.
Well, good. You know, a lot of these events that are done don't receive a lot of publicity.
Right.
So a lot of people don't know. Like I have a viewer that sent me an email that advised me that this event
Start
was.
looking, yeah.
Yeah, and so I came by and thought, well, hell,
Oh,
I'll
welcome.
do a video.
Very
You know.
glad to see you.
Well, and it gives you a little exposure,
Yes.
and hopefully you'll benefit.
Absolutely.
Thank you for
Yeah.
your time.
Have
I
a good
appreciate
day.
it. Yeah, you too. Anyway, guys, we're right here on Lake LBJ. That's Lake LBJ there. They did have a flood here in October that kind of washed things out a little bit. But they've got all, if you're interested in archaeology, then this is an event that's yearly. And I'll finish up. I'm going to go through the inside. I guess I'll have to go pretty quick because this video's gone a little longer than I anticipated because these people can talk. You know, they know their stuff. Oh yeah, we got all kind of stuff here, but we'll go briefly, guys. These are all arrowheads. There's some more arrowheads. And these are things they have found. There's an old bow and arrow. And that's how they used to make fires. I think they would rub those sticks in those holes until they got a spark on some dry brush or whatever, and away they would go with a fire. But I'm just going to kind of go briefly here, guys, because we have gone on way long. But they're interesting people. I mean, I learned something about archaeology that I wanted to find out, and that was how do they actually date this stuff? And that young man really explained it to the nth. How are you, Senor? How are y'all today?
We're here.
You're here, right? Well, are you an archaeologist?
He is.
You're an archaeologist. How do
Educational archaeologist. Yes.
well, I don't even know what that means. I barely know what archaeology means, but be that as it may. How can an archaeologist determine the age of anything? I mean, or of a arrowhead or a bone?
Well,
or
if you can find something that is based on carbon,
there it goes, carbon again.
yeah,
Yeah, I heard that earlier. Yeah,
right,
carbon
and,
dating.
they do the carbon dating on it,
Right.
and any artifacts found with it are the same age as what they're carbon dated to.
Well, is carbon dating expensive to have done?
Yes,
Oh, it is expensive.
about $525.
Oh, just for one sample?
item.
One sample, $525. So you don't waste your time carbon dating anything.
That's why.
Yeah, you want a picture with our mammoth? You know,
Well, because, I hear that some of these things are 16,000 years old and this is 8,000 and,
Oh,
it's
I've got one 13,000 years old. I've got two 13,000 years old.
really.
yes, hey.
What are they?
Folsom.
Say that again?
Folsom.
Folsom, which is a rock.
Mine's in this book, as a matter of fact.
It's a point. Folsom is a point.
Yeah, it's a dark point.
Okay.
Like these.
Oh, okay.
No, these are arrow points.
These are arrowheads, but it would be pointed.
Yes,
Yeah.
we'll show you.
Oh, yeah.
Here's the guy that she
Stay over there.
five original.
Pretty interesting.
okay.
I'm letting this video go. I may never get it posted, but we're going.
Down here is two archaeologists talking.
Yeah, they talk. Archaeologists are not shy. No, no.
Which is the guy?
No, in fact, this fellow out here with whoever it is, that Dig or whatever it is, I asked him about carbon dating. Well, I opened Pandora's box. He knows a lot
Maybe the
about
guy down
carbon
below
dating.
just pointed.
I'm going, okay.
Okay.
Everything you want to know about carbon dating and more.
Oh, no, I don't. But I may get it.
Well, let me finish up here. You find it? Okay, that's called what now?
Folsom.
Folsom, F-O-L-S-O-M?
Right there is mine.
That's the one you found. And so you're in archaeology books.
I've got maybe 200 points in this book.
No kidding.
They were drawn by Richard Reynolds
Yeah.
out of San Antonio, and
What a
every
hobby.
chip, everything is exact.
Here
He's
comes
a
the young
master.
lady. You're the president's daughter, right?
Yes, sir.
This is Superwoman, and this is Superman.
You know.
Yeah, y'all make a perfect couple. Yeah, you could be twins.
Well, I've known her since she was about that
And
high.
then we have the other president's
Yeah,
daughter,
okay.
my
All right.
sister.
Well, if you watch YouTube videos, you'll be on it. Okay.
I was on a YouTube video the other day.
Yeah, well, you'll see yourself because my channel is Rusty78609,
Okay.
and I also I do videos for a variety of reasons. But yeah, you'll see yourself. And so yeah, say hello to everybody. Yeah, they get a kid. Yeah, it's a funny thing.
I'm running around everywhere.
You can do a video of the most wonderful objects in the world, okay? But if you have a pretty girl or pretty woman in the video,
Oh, yeah.
they go nuts, okay? No, I'll get comments from guys all over the world. Boy, what a pretty chick. Boy, what pretty, the girls in America.
Here's two of them.
No, I know. I mean, but anyway, thank you much for your courtesy, and thank you all for telling me all about archaeology.
Thank you for coming.
Have a good day.
You too.
Adios, vaya con Dios, and all that stuff. Bye-bye. Anyway, guys, we're leaving. We're going.
That's not John there.
Thank you.
John.
There's my pickup. We're headed that way, guys. This is the finish of this video. And I think I may have got the sound halfway decent. I tried. But having said that, from the Archaeological Foundation here in, near Kingsland, Texas, this is Rusty78609 saying, see, there's my thumb. Thumbs up, carpe diem, adios, bye, buy anything you want. But if you think about it, use the link to Amazon products in the description of all of my videos. Why? Because I get a small commission. Doesn't cost you a penny. What else? Keep your health, get out and about, and see things like this. And I know this video is a long one, but for those of you that are interested in archaeology, which I know there's at least one, you'll be able to learn something, because this is an event that's fairly well attended. I'm surprised, but the building I'm at is actually called the Nightingale Archaeological Center, and it was named for Bruce A. Nightingale. He was an LCRA staff archaeologist from 1989 until his death in 1998. And that's it, guys, from Central Texas. Adios, bye-bye.